I want to talk about something that is so important, and that is you need to have relationships if you want to be successful in anything. Literally anything in life is all about relationships and it's about connecting. And if you want to pursue anything in life, whether it is a being the best athlete, being the best business guy, being the best whatever, they all have one thing in common, and that is social skills. You talk to any of the best athletes, they are able to command people. They have these social skills. They're able to connect. And you might look at people like Elon Musk and be like, well, he's autistic. He doesn't, look like he's good at social skills. Yet, why does he recruit thousands and thousands of these top A player engineers and people? Why is his team one of the best teams in the world? Why is he the richest person in the world and has all of these connections and can basically meet whoever he wants whenever he wants? Because he has social skills, right? And his social skills, right, if you break that down into a pie chart, there's all these different little meta skills. His meta skills might be a little different, but at the end of the day, he has that social skills and he has that social access. He's wealthy in that social sphere. He can talk to the president. He can talk to whoever he wants whenever he wants. Anyone who has but think about it. If you had the ability to talk to any single person on the planet, right? You could talk to any person on the planet. How much better would your life get? How much more money would you have? How much would you excel in athletics or, being an A-list actor, whatever you want to do? You would hit it, right? So the only barrier between you getting to where you want and where you are right now, right? That gap, the only thing that will get you to where you want, guaranteed, is not money. It is not having millions of followers on Instagram or YouTube or whatever. It's not any of these things that you were taught online. It is your social access and ability. It is not skills, because that's all going to get replaced by AI. It's not any of this stuff, right? And if you are chasing, I want to learn all these skills, all of this skill work, we used to live like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. It was skilled people. That's how you made a living. Skilled people, and obviously the top was people who had the relationships. But a lot of this middle class and upper middle class was these skilled people. Now, guess what? Now AI is taking on that middle class. So all of these skilled jobs will no longer be valuable. And what will be left? The same thing that has been at the top throughout all of history, which is the social skilled people, the people who have the best relationships and connections. When you come into this world, you are given food and shelter. And if you're like, I'm adopted, I'm a XYZ, you are watching this video because someone fed you at some point in your life, because you cannot go 10 years without eating, right? And that was because of some sort of relationship, whether you earned it or not, or just because you were a baby and you look like a baby. So it does not matter, but there was a relational transaction there, and that's what caused you to be able to survive, right? Everything is a relationship. How you were made was from a relationship. Everything in life is a relationship. And if you want to get to the top at whatever you are doing, and if you want to be the happiest and feel fulfilled, and you're like, I don't know what to do, the one thing you can work on and get better at is relationships, period. And I wish I knew this sooner. If I look at the happiest times I've ever been in my life, like the best times, the best anything, it is relationships. Relationships are everything. In fact, I went to David Senra's, I'm sure you guys know who he is, but if you don't, David Senra, Founders Podcast, millions of subscribers. He has access. He's interviewed, I think, over like 40 or 50 billionaires. And so this guy just gets the insights of the best and the best, not in the best athlete, but the best of the best in business. And something that's interesting and something that he brought up at this 3-day private event, which I was invited to with 200 other people. And there was a lot of, billionaires and super high level people. And I got to see this among them too. Relationships. It's all about relationships. He literally had a slide. We had a 30-minute presentation on relationships rule the world, right? That is it. At any level, the highest level is just relationships. It is just relationships. What do you do if you are a multi-billionaire? What does your day look like? Well, it looks like you jumping in meetings, making deals, talking to people. You are talking to people. You're not going to become you're not becoming successful at anything if you just want to be this introvert who just hides in your room and sits on a computer and does things that AI is going to replace doing in a couple of years anyways, and learn all these things that are useless because AI is going to do anyways. And I used to be the biggest introvert you could be. When I was younger, I literally didn't talk. My parents would pay me to talk to people. I literally did not talk to anyone. All I would do is I would sit and I'd play and I'd build into sandcastle. And then I got introduced to Legos. I build Legos. I play with that stuff. And then I got introduced to Minecraft. I would play Minecraft. The only time I would talk to people is if they were playing Minecraft too. That was it. I was not social. In fact, I wouldn't even invite people over to my house. My parents would kind of have to force me to hang out with people. Like, I was not social at all. Period. And, in school, I ended up I was like, okay, I'm going to, learn some comedy and stuff like that. And that indirectly, I didn't know at the time, but that allowed me to, more people were like, oh, he's kind of dumb. He doesn't know anything. So that helped me with some relationships at school. I never invited anyone over. And then I got into fitness, and that kind of was that comedy and fitness allowed me to build even more relationships. I had some friends, but I had very limited friends. And then I had some, bad things happen to me, hung out with some bad people, and my relationships went to zero. And that was a really low point in my life. And even though I was, had a business and all these things on paper, I had no relationships. And what happens when you have no relationships? Everything fails. Everything in life will fail if you do not have relationships. You need to have relationships. And I'm 19 years old. I'm young, and I'm so grateful I've gotten to figure this out at 19 years old. But everything's relationships. Everyone I've ever met, billionaires, millionaires, celebrities, does not matter. Everyone I've ever met, which I'm grateful to have met a lot of people, all are extremely good at relationships and social. They have absurd relationships. They are good at talking to people. They know how to talk to people. They understand communication, human psychology, whatever. So if you or someone like me, and you're maybe 17, you're 27, you're 30, does not matter, and you were like, what can I do? How can I make my life better? Do I learn all of these skills that all these guys who are trying to monetize you off selling a course or whatever are trying to teach you, which will be replaced by AI or robots within 10 to 20 years, if not sooner, definitely sooner? Or is it, I'm going to go learn how to communicate with people, and I'm going to start making friends. And every month, I'm just going to make 1 or 2 new friends, and I'm going to stay in touch with them, and we're going to hang out. And then I'm going to add more, and then I'm going to add more, and then I'm going to add more. And you might be like, I don't know how to make friends because I walk outside. I live in the middle of Kentucky, or I live in, Redmond, or I live in Seattle, or I live in Wisconsin, or wherever you might live, right? And I grew up in a place that is non-social, right? I go outside, no one says hi to each other, no one is friendly, no one is social. Move. And, let's say you're not in a financial position to move, because truthfully, the reason I haven't moved yet is because there is a financial limitation, right? Which is fine. And there's probably a lot of you watching this who are like, I can't move because I have a job, because I have XYZ, because I can't afford it. And that makes complete sense, and that's fine. Now, here's what you do. Start making friends online, right? Start posting content, start connecting with people, start DMing people. You might be like, oh, I DM'd like 2 people and they never got back to me. DM 100 people. If you see someone doing something interesting, reach out. Hey man, I'd love to just jump on a call. I'd love to meet you. Start planting these seeds, start building these relationships, and leverage technology, not to learn all these skills and do all this useless stuff. Leverage it to make connections and meet people. Now, what you also want to be doing is saving up money. Start saving up money. Maybe it's going to take you a year. Maybe you have to work extra hard for a year just to have enough money to say, okay, I can have a few months and I can go move to this other place. And maybe you'll get jobs at this other location, this other city. Some great cities are Scottsdale, anywhere, Arizona area, Austin. These are really good young cities, Nashville. Miami's too expensive, so unless you have a lot of money. But just start going to places where you can walk outside your apartment or outside your house, and within 5 minutes you can meet someone and you can say, hello, my name is XYZ, nice to meet you, and build a relationship and start connecting with people. Additionally, a good place to connect with people is go join an MMA gym, go do fitness, go do some sort of social activity, and just meet and connect with people and travel with people. If you have friends, maybe you have a couple friends who are into, traveling. Go on an adventure together. Maybe you want to sail the ocean blue, maybe whatever. Just meet with people and connect with people. And if you're in school and you're in college, your goal is not to do anything. Do not do any homework. It doesn't matter. Your goal is to meet as many people as you want and plant those seeds as early as you can. I wish I went to more high schools as a kid and I planted more seeds, right? I think college is great. I just don't want to go to college for 4 years, and also it's too expensive for me. So what is my plan? In my ideal planet, if I can figure out the finances to do this, it would be to go to these different colleges, live on these college campuses all around different places, just meet as many people as I can. Period. I just want to meet as many people as I can, because that is your wealth. That is what your bank account is. Your bank account is not that number on a screen that is some number that is manipulated by a whole bunch of people and that is consistently losing value, and who knows, will even be valuable in the next 20 years. No, it is not that thing that you've been brainwashed to think is that thing, right? Think about it. If I wanted to control someone, I'd make them obsess over working so hard for something that is useless and neglect the things that are actually valuable. Relationships. So, let me ask you a question. Why is it that everyone who is successful is extremely good at people and relationships? Why is it? And you might be like, oh, well, no, in ancient history it was different. Okay. Think of some people in ancient history. Alexander the Great. He led people. He was good at people. He didn't just sit in his tent and do nothing and not talk to anyone. Julius Caesar. Napoleon. Anyone that you remember throughout history had some sort of social ability. Not a single one. You cannot prove me wrong on this. Anyone. So why are you going to be different, right? And you might be like, oh, well, it's comfortable to just sit in my room and play video games or sit on the computer and do all this stuff. And listen, video games are fun. Sometimes it's fun to, talk on chat and talk with people. I get that. But you need to be connecting in person, right? You shouldn't just be connecting online. And another thing is, it's uncomfortable at first. I literally first 10, 15 years of my life, I did not invite anyone over. I just stayed in my room. I didn't do anything. So I understand, right, that you might be like, this is uncomfortable and I don't want to do it. And I don't want to go out. I don't want to meet people. I just want to stay in my room and stay safe. And I just want to be comfortable. But I promise you, you are poisoning yourself, whether you realize it or not. And I know so many people who I just wish, would go out more and want to do things, but they just want to stay inside and just be comfortable and just make excuses on, I just want to stay in my room and smoke weed and do nothing. And that's just poisoning yourself. And I see people go down this thing because I can attest to this the most, because I'm probably the biggest introvert you ever met. Yet I'm slowly, and I fall, and I have hard times and I fall. And, I'm coming off a big fall where I thought that, I'm just going to walk in and not really talk to anyone, and that's going to solve my issues, which it won't. But relationships are the only thing that's going to make you fulfilled, make you happy. Just, you have to do it. You have to have it. And you might be like, I don't know who the fuck this kid is, what he's saying. I don't believe anything he's saying. Go make 5 new friends this month and just see how it feels. See how it feels to go say hi to people. See how it feels to go take a trip to one of these active cities and go start talking to people and making friends. Let me ask you, if you have more friends in your life, is your life going to get better or worse? Now, you might be like, oh, well, I have some friends who just do a lot of drugs and these bad people. I'm not saying hang out with people who will make you worse. I'm saying there is people out there who are at your level or at a level higher than you that you probably have some similarities with, that you can go connect with, and they will make you better. If you surround yourself with good, high quality people, they will make your life better, I promise you. And it's hard, and it's truly hard. It's harder than ever to do this. And you might feel so alone, right? And it's hard, especially hard if you have no money, if you have no resources, if you are starting from zero and you have nothing. You're like, how do I build a life where I have all of these powerful connections? How do I build a life where I have friends and I'm wealthy in that field of my life? And the truth is, the reason it's hard is because that's your life. Let's say there was an afterlife, right? And some of you might believe that, some of you might not. Some of you might think we die and we just never do anything. Some of you might think we die and we go to heaven. Some of you, wherever you think we go or die or whatever, don't you think that if we're on this planet and we're all, I guess, one, but we're all like these sub spirits, I guess. You know, these sub little personalities, and whether maybe we go into something else and we don't retain any of our memory, but we retain that spirit still. And through all of these experiences, all these lives, we still have that spirit, and that spirit is us in a way, even though we might not even be able to recognize our own spirit, but you can recognize other spirits. And so what if, maybe we go into this next life, and maybe though you might not know the name, you can recognize that spirit, and you can recognize these other spirits, and you can still form relationships on the next life, and the next life, and the next life. And the only thing that you keep from this world is your ability to have those relationships and connections. All of your material wealth, all of your looks, your skills, your all of these things, these worldly possessions that you chase are gone, and they don't exist, and they don't come with you. But the only thing that stays with you is that spirit, and that ability to connect and recognize other spirits that maybe you met in a different life. Maybe some of your best friends, or some of the people that you resonate with and you look up to the most, are just reminders of a past life and a past spirit that maybe you were familiar with, or maybe you were close with. Maybe, right? Maybe the point of this whole, life and all of this stuff is just to make connections and just to meet people. And maybe that's why that's the one thing that's suppressed. Because if you are a powerful government, what is the one thing you want your people to do least? Community, thinking, connecting with one another. Why would you want that? Why would you give power to every individual instead of power to one organization that rules everyone else, right? And I think that's dangerous if you're a powerful ruler, is to allow people to connect. Instead, you want to distract them. You want to give them all of this confusing information. You want to teach them that they need to learn these skills, even though it makes no sense why these skills are even valuable in the first place, but that they need to focus and learn these skills and be skilled workers. And even though AI will replace all these skilled workers, they should still do it anyways, right? And maybe they just pivot their skills to AI-enabled skills, but they should still learn skills. In that church and connecting and these places of gathering, right? These big public facilities where everyone used to gather in Rome, these big bathhouses, all these things. Like, we need to get less of that. We need to force people to go inside and stay in their rooms, right? And be introverts, In fact, let's legalize more and more weed so people just stay in their rooms and they talk less and less and less. Let's remove people going to, bars or going to social. I'm not saying that drinking is good, but let's remove the ability where people go out and they go in a group together and they connect and they communicate and they share ideas and they love one another and they build long-lasting relationships that possibly might even, extend past this life. Let's remove all of that, and let's just force them to be isolating themselves. Let's force them to stay in their room, not to think for themselves, but to obsess over learning these skills that do not matter in the first place, and really distract them from actually doing things that might be uncomfortable, but are really the only thing that matters in this life. I just want you to think. I just want you to think and ask yourself the question, will I progress? Will I be happier? Will I achieve X, Y, Z, whatever you're trying to do? If I'm better at relationships, if I have more, if I'm better at socializing, if I have friends, if I have people who love me and truly look after me, if I have family,